This is topic B on page 115, setting a baseline. One of the final steps in planning a project is preserving your original project estimates so you will have data to compare actual progress with. In this topic, you will set a project baseline. A baseline is a measurement, calculation, or location used as a basis for comparison. A project baseline is an approved plan for a project. Normally, the project plan is approved by the project sponsor, the person in an organization who authorizes, supports, and approves a project. The baseline is a snapshot of the plan's scope, time, and cost of a project. As the project is executed, you can compare actual scope, time, and cost against the baseline to measure how the project is performing. Here are some of the questions that can be answered. For the project area of scope, are we doing the tasks we plan to do? Are we doing more or different tasks than anticipated? Or are we doing fewer tasks than anticipated? For time, are we behind, on, or ahead of schedule? And for cost, are we under, on, or over budget? If your project is not performing as expected, you can take corrective action to finish the project according to scope, on time, and within budget. This is the monitoring and controlling function of project management. So project enables you to set up to 11 baselines. The best practice is to use baseline, this is without a number, for the project plan when it is initially approved, and then to use baseline numbers 1 through 10 when the project sponsor approves later changes to the plan. For example, if the project sponsor approves the addition of several new project tasks a month into project execution, you should capture the change by setting baseline number 1. The baseline table displays the values for the 5 most commonly used default baseline fields. In Project, a baseline is a group of nearly 20 primary reference points in 5 categories: start dates, finish dates, durations, work, and cost estimates that you can set to record the original project plan when that plan is completed and refined. As the project progresses, you can set additional baselines to a total of 11 for each project to help measure changes in the plan. For example, if your project has several phases, you can save a separate baseline at the end of each phase to compare planned values against actual data. Because the baseline provides the reference points against which you compare actual project progress, the baseline should include your best estimates for task duration, start and finish dates, costs, and other project variables that you want to monitor. The baseline may also represent a contractual obligation for the project. Baseline information that consistently differs from current data may indicate that your original plan is no longer accurate, possibly because the scope needs review or because the nature of the project has changed. If project stakeholders agree that the difference warrants it, you can modify or rework the baseline at any time during the project. You may find that setting multiple baselines is especially useful for long projects or for projects in which the baseline is rendered irrelevant by significant changes to scheduled tasks or costs. So to set a baseline, the initial baseline for your project, in the top left-hand corner where your rows meet your columns, you see this empty box right here. We're going to right-click here, and this allows you to select different tables to view. We're going to go down to More Tables, and this opens the More Tables dialog box. This is going to be a table for our tasks, and we're going to apply the baseline table. What this is going to do, it's going to zero out all of your information. You can see everything is cleared out from here. Okay? So this gives us the initial setup of our baseline table. And then we can go ahead and set the baseline. To do that, we go up to our Project tab on our ribbon, And in the schedule command group, here we have our set baseline command, and we're going to set baseline from here. This is going to open up our dialog box for us. So you can easily set a project baseline by selecting the Project tab on the ribbon, finding the Schedule command group, selecting the Set Baseline button, and selecting the Set Baseline option. Selecting this option will display the Set Baseline dialog box. And from here, you can choose to set your baseline. If you're doing your initial one, remember you want to use the title of baseline with no numbers. And then as you're going through and executing different phases of your project, you can set additional baselines just to make sure that your project is staying on track. So for our initial baseline, we're going to select baseline from here. And in the For section, we're creating the baseline for the entire project. You can choose to only set a baseline for your summary tasks or from subtasks into the selected summary tasks. We're going to do the entire project from here and click OK. So it takes our initial information, the initial duration of the project, and sets it in, you can see, to baseline duration, the baseline start, baseline finish, baseline work, baseline cost. So you can create multiple tables, again, as you're going through different phases of your project to make sure, then you would be able to compare each baseline to your starting project, your baseline. You can go into baseline 1, 2, 3, and 4, then compare them to this initial table, again, to make sure that you're staying on track. Because obviously, as you go through different projects, things will come up. You'll have to add more tasks. You might lose a resource. You might gain more resources down the line. You want to take a look at your budget as well. So you'll want to compare those to your original baseline. So that is how you do that. Right-click, More Tables, and view your baseline, and then you can go ahead and select and set that baseline. All right, so we'll see another example of this in our activity, which is going to be your next video, activity 6.2 on page 118.